This is a story for the new, the uninitiated pioneers of our industry, of how taking risks and making mistakes with analytics, A/B testing, data engineering used to be seen as a way to make a company grow. Back then, there was no wrong way or a right way. As Chiang Kai-feng writes in his book, Humanizing Data Strategy, doing things easy and fast without considering the consequences is often preferred over doing it the right way, which usually also means the more valuable way. We shouldn't blame the people who choose the easy way because the benefits and motivation for doing it the right way are often unclear. We could blame it on the discrepancy between short-term and long-term thinking. But even then, the question is, why should I care about long-term if I am only impacted by the short-term? These Wild West days, before GDPR, before true governance, before common sense in some cases, are, I guess, over. Unless someone wants to, share some ongoing adventures of their own with me. It's safe to say that we have grown more mature. We acknowledge the inherent valuable nature of data and respect the responsibility it brings to our customers and to ourselves as owners. But this was not always the way. It's naive to think that nobody takes risks and doesn't end up making mistakes, both personally and professionally. When I was young, I'll admit I was not too long ago, I often heard the claim that with age comes wisdom. Of course, at the time, I was highly doubtful that that was the case. My instructors in boot camp were pretty good at pointing that out. Now, many years later, I can honestly say that the claim is only partially valid. Age does not directly bring wisdom, but the experiences you gained over time do. Let me just say that the MS-DOS command del *** was not my friend, and no longer were the people on whose computer I performed that command on. So, Carla, Ronald, if you're watching, I wholeheartedly apologize for deleting everything on your computer several times. I'm not too worried about admitting my mistakes. I can admit to being human. The risks I've taken in the past and mistakes I've made while growing up and eventually working with data are plentiful. Personal low points, my mistakes included substance abuse that started towards the end of my military career and continued for several years. I also took out staggering amounts of bank loans to buy things that I could not afford, racking up debt for stupid reasons. Professionally, I made some absolute blunders too. On more than one occasion, I injected MarTech solution scripts for testing purposes onto corporate sites. At the time, I used tools like Tagman, Paul Cook's first tag management solution, later acquired by Insight, to accomplish this. I would purposefully exclude office IP addresses to ensure none of my colleagues noticed. Tools that I deployed at the time were feedback tools like CamPal that I mentioned before in other videos, and heat map tools like Crazy Egg. Eventually, when I thought I had the hang of JavaScript, I would experiment with my own scripts. At one job, I used a tool called Tag Commander to scrape data from the page and inject it into a data layer. Once, after about an hour, I realized that I had left an alert function called in the script that was pushed to production. It caused alert windows to be displayed on product detail pages, showing product detail information. Additionally, I published Google Tag Manager containers with typos, corrupting tags and data. I think that this club of misfits is quite massive at the moment. And, let's not forget typos we could make. I don't think it's the case anymore right now in Google Analytics, but with Google Analytics Universal, typos and filters that stop data from flowing into production views. I also clearly remember this mistake with a customer database with a client who mixed up two types of user IDs, causing people in Italy to receive push notifications in Dutch or some other combination. I didn't cause it, and I have witnesses to prove my innocence, but it did kick my detective genes into high gear. So, does wisdom come with age? Well, let me say that I now know what not to do, and in some cases, where to start looking. My view is that naivety fueled by curiosity and gaining experience over time, maybe by taking risks, are the birthplace of wisdom. Life is filled with making mistakes and misjudging situations. They either teach us what works or what doesn't. Does risk play a role? Sure it does. There are, of course, various levels of risk that you can take, and that is what you need to be conscious about. Some risks are very innocent by nature, while others can bring real danger, even when dealing with data. However, the biggest lesson I have learned to date is a less common one: ownership. But you might be asking yourself, what is the tie-in with data and CDPs? Let me say that audit features are there for a reason. The same reason McDonald's coffee cups state that the contents are hot, because someone has been burnt before. Audit trails, data governance, and user roles were born out of necessity, out of a need to assign accountability. Most CDPs now offer data quality checks, anomaly detection, and audit trails for changes made to their configurations. Think of vendors like Segment and Particle and MetaRouter, or standalone solutions that have sprung up in the last few years like Avo. With data dependency growing, there is no longer an excuse to taking excessive risks. Implementing MarTech has gone easier over the years, solutions have matured, but so has a generation of experienced professionals. So when people claim that it is good to fail fast and fail often, don't worry, you will, everyone will. I did, I still do. Marriage and parenting can be a funny thing. There's no shame in it. Don't beat yourself up. Like Poppy from the Trolls movie sings, I will get back up again. When you do, take ownership, nurture and share the experience, and make sure to make backups. Because remember, those Wild West days are definitely over. Thanks for watching.